All right, we're back today. We're going to continue to put materials onto our roof and siding and walls and so forth. So we want to open up that roof group. So double click to open that group. And I'm going to show you a couple different ways to apply this vertical siding. If you look back in our first image, or when we downloaded the images off the web, we had a picture of our ranch house, and I just want to show you that right here real quick. Let's see, there's the floor plan. Alright, so you can see it's kind of the tan color siding and then a darker brown vertical siding. So if I zoom in on that a little bit, you can see we have some vertical siding there and a light tan horizontal siding. So I'm going to show you, like I said, a couple different ways to get this vertical siding, because when we go to our materials, if we look in carpet and textiles, or excuse me, we want to go to what do we want to go to? Brick and cladding. Now, SketchUp comes with the default settings here, and it's got the cladding siding tan and cladding siding in white, which is horizontal. And you can see I've added a couple of new materials for the vertical siding, and I'm going to show you how to do that right now. So one of the first things you want to do is you're going to take that tan horizontal siding and you're going to paint it onto the roof section here. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to select the selection tool and right click and choose textures and then position. And we're actually going to position the texture. And you can see we got 4 pins here. The red pin we can move and reposition our texture. The green pin is actually for scaling and rotating. So this is the pin we're going to use. But the other 2 pins, we can use the yellow pin to distort the texture. It's kind of that keystone effect. And then likewise the blue pin has to do with scale and shear of the texture. So we're going to click and we're going to drag. If I just click and hold, you'll see you get the protractor tool. And now I just want to drag that around in a 90-degree view. And then you can see as I move downward, the larger the scale gets of the vertical siding. So, but we want to try to maintain that 90-degree, and that looks pretty close right there. And once I got the desired effect or outcome or size that I want, I'm just simply going to right click and I'm going to choose done. And so now you can see that the siding has turned vertical. Okay. Now the second method that we're going to show you again comes from the materials. If you, oops, let me do that. If you again select that texture, you can see we have an option to edit that texture image. So again, I just right clicked on the surface of that texture, right click, and then I chose edit texture image, and that brought up the copy or the JPEG of that horizontal siding. Now what I want to do here is save this as a copy, make a copy of it. And so now I'm going to rename that to vertical clad setting, and then I'm going to click save. Now you can see I've already have one that I had saved earlier. I'm just going to replace that. Say yes, but don't forget to make the siding vertical. So again, I forgot. There we go. Now that should be vertical. I should have rotated it first using the rotate tool and then made a copy of it. Alright, so now I'm finished using the viewer, so I can close that out. So the next part is we want to add a new material. Okay, so in the materials dialog box, you want to find that plus sign in the materials dialog box and choose that right here, and that's going to open up that whichever selection you'd made. It's going to open up that existing material. So if I select that, and then so here you can see this is just an example. This was the siding. Notice you have the different color options here. You have the picker as RGB. You use color wheel, and that's something we're going to use here in a second. And then, but we want to find that vertical siding, and I just saved that to my desktop, or actually my Dropbox. You should have saved yours into your My Documents SketchUp folder, and then navigate to your vertical clad siding and choose open here. Okay, so now we've got that vertical clad siding. Let's increase the size here, maybe 3 feet by 6 inches. And then we want to darken that up. So with the picker, I chose the color wheel, so I want to get that a little darker. And so I just slid down on the slider there. And then we're going to click OK. So now we have that vertical clad siding. Now I can just dump that in. And here as well. And again, if you don't like the way something looks, you can always go back in and change it. I'm thinking that this might be a little wide. The clabbers might be a little wide, so I might change that a little bit. I want to change that scale. So I've got that material selected, and so now I'm just going to edit it. And I'm going to try 3 foot maybe. That still looks awful big to me. Let's go 2 foot, back to 2 foot 6. So we'll try that and see what that looks like. That's better. Let's see if we can pull that picture up of the house. Yeah, it's really tough to see, but maybe even closer together. So let's see if we can drop that down a little bit more even. So let's go 2 foot. How about 1 foot 6? Let's try 1 foot 6. We're going to get there. It's just a matter of what it looks like. Yeah, that looks a little better. I like that better, I think. So we set that scale to 1 foot 6. And maybe I got that a little too dark as well, so I want to drop back to the color wheel. And maybe lighten that up just a little bit. Yeah, that's not bad. That's pretty good, actually. So that's 2 different ways that you can manipulate the materials on your house. So let's go ahead and exit out of the roof, and now let's concentrate on the siding. So let's double click the wall group, and then we want that outside wall, so again we have to double click that as well. And so now we can go back to the selection, and I had earlier done this and I kind of found the color I like. So for you guys, I want you to change your colors, and let me go through the steps to show you how to get there. Again, we just went to our materials and we went to bricks and cladding, and we chose the cladding siding white, and we applied it to our house. And all we did then is hit the home button, and there's our cladding white siding. And so we just went to edit, and we changed the numbers here to get more of that tan color for our siding. And the numbers were exactly 204 for the red, 191 for the green, and 185 for the blue. So we just select that, and 204. Let's change this to 204. I think that was what was it? 191. Okay, 191. And that was the last number. And I originally just got these by playing around with it until I kind of got to where a color I liked. 185 was the blue. So we're almost there. 185. So that gave me that nice tan color, and I can apply the siding to the rest of the house by holding down the control key, and I can click outside of that. So there we have our siding. And again, if you're not happy with that, and in fact, maybe we could have made it a little bit more pale, a little bit more yellow in that. It's fairly close, but again, it's personal preference. You can adjust it. You can see it's getting lighter as I'm backing off on the yellow a little bit. So maybe something there. Again, doesn't have to be exactly perfect, but it's pretty darn close. And I think we'll leave it at that. So, all right. So I think the next thing we need to do is work on the porch. So you can see that our porch does stick out, and we have looks like 5 columns here in the front of the house. And you'll notice that we have a foundation and also a foot thick, probably, porch. And notice that the porch is probably a foot off the ground. So I think the next step for us to do is to lower our floor plan that we got off the internet. We're just going to drop that down a foot. So I selected it all. I chose the move tool. And I want to make sure I drop this straight down in the blue axis. And remember, if you are having trouble finding that axis, you can use the arrow keys on your keyboard. The up arrow will lock it into the blue axis. And once I got that locked into the blue axis, I'm going to type in 24 inches or 2 feet and hit enter. So we've got our floor there, and I'm going to hide that, I think. So Control Alt H hides, and now I think what we need to do is add a floor to our bottom of our house here. So let's go R for rectangle, Let's just make a floor to the inside here. And let's see here. I think we can make that a group then. So Control G makes that a group. And then we want to select that group. And let's see. Let's get in that group. Now intersect faces with the model. No, that doesn't do what I'm wanting it. I'm wanting to break out these lines here. No, that's not going to work. Let's try it this way. Intersect faces with model. Still not getting exactly what I want. So I'm not quite sure. I was wanting to break this down so that I can have the individual flooring for each room. So I think maybe I'll just try this again. I'll delete that. And then let's go R for rectangle. Maybe select to the outside. Why did Alright, so I'm having some difficulties here, so I'm going to pause. Alright, we're back. Did a little playing with this while we were out there. Again, I had moved the floor plan down 24 inches. I hid that. Now I want to add the floor, so I'm going to use this rectangle tool. And remember, we were outside of a group, so we won't have to worry about our new faces getting tangled up with our existing walls. So that's what I did here. I made the rectangle. And what I want to do now is I want to take the push-pull tool. And I know this seems backwards, but I'm going to push it up so it's inside the house. And so that it has an intersection with all the walls of the house. And I just want to go up 1 inch. That's fine. And now I'm going to use the selection tool, triple click, select the whole thing, and then right click on it and choose intersect faces with model. Now we intersected all the faces with all the walls, the doors, and the openings. So I'm going to triple click that floor. I'm going to use the mouse tool and move it down again, making sure that we're in the blue axis. And I'm only going to go down, it doesn't really matter, a few feet here, so that we can see what's happened here. Now you can see that the interior walls and the exterior walls have shown up in there. So what I want to do is we're going to do a little editing. We want to get the walls, or I should say the floor, only so that they're inside the actual rooms. So I'm going to take that push-pull and I'm going to take that push-pull and push it back up that 1 inch that we pulled it down. And so now you can see we have individual floor plans here. Pretty close. Looks like we're missing a couple of walls. I probably had some lines that we're missing, so I can just manually add those in. So walk into the green direction here, holding down shift. So that should be a face now. And I have a little bitty gap here. I see. So what do I want to do here? This is one of the pantry doors. Is that what it was? Outside closet. So that's where we're having difficulties there. What's going on in here? So it looks like we've got some kind of gap somewhere. Probably in a door opening. Possibly a window opening. But you know what? It really doesn't matter, because I want to start deleting getting there. We're getting there. I'm going to hide my dialog boxes, Alt D. Looks like we're missing a line here. We're getting there. Basically what we want to do is end up with all the walls being selected and deleting those, and all we have left are see, just reversing the faces. There we go. Okay, so we want to leave that. But, here's the gap here. Now we still have this. Is probably what the problem is here. So just have to connect those. And I might have to go back in and look at that in a minute. And that didn't stop. Make sure my walls are all touching and connected. So all I want is leave are these. Yeah, that's not going to work there. Let's just trace. That did it. Okay. So yeah, there is all of so now I think if I just select That's not going to work. Maybe. Alright, hold down shift. I'm hoping this is going to work. Holding down shift, and I selected all the faces. Now I'm going to control X to cut. Now that deleted a lot, or removed a lot. And I want to make sure that we delete all these lines here. So I just chose the side view. I press delete. And now the next thing I want to do is choose edit, paste, and place. And if all went right, we are going to be missing the internal. And it did. So now I'm going to place that in a group. Control G. And I want to move that group up so that it's flush with the floor. Again, up arrow, lock it in the blue axis. And then there we go. We've got our floors lined up perfectly with our house. So let's hide our roof. So there's each of the floors now are separated. You can see we got perfect. And there was some other things that I want to take care of. Well, I'll do that later off camera. But there's how we do our floors. So now the next thing is we're going to add our foundation. So we're just going to again rotate around to the back. Oh, before I move on, I want to bring back my dialog boxes, and I want to move my floors to architect floor. So right there. So there we are, taking care of a little maintenance as well. And now we're ready to hit the rectangle tool, and we're going to make our foundation. So I just traced it around the outer edge of the house, and I pulled it down 4 foot. So there's our foundation. Now if we do Shift H to hide all, see now we have a foundation. I think I want to believe that was 2 foot, not 4 foot. I wanted to pull the foundation. So let's try this. I want to push that up 2 foot. There we go, perfect. Now we're going to add the porch. Remember, the porch was 1 foot in thickness, and then it was the same length, ran the entire length of the house. So again, I'm just going to use my rectangle tool and stretch a rectangle out, and I'm just going to use the midpoint of the new foundation right there. And we're going to now pull that top layer out. But before I do that, you notice it started pulling the whole thing, so I want to group that, erase that. So I want to group that foundation, so triple click on the foundation. Of course, to hide. That didn't work either. I'm going to have to back up a couple steps here. There we go. I actually want to, let's group this stupid image plan. So Control G. So I group that. And now I'm going to hide that. Control Alt H. Now I want to remake that. Foundation, and remember we only want to push-pull that 2 feet or 24 inches. And then we can add last. There we go. Now I can group that, Control G, and I triple clicked on the foundation. I selected the whole thing and added that out. So now I can take the rectangle tool and make that entire width or length of the house at 1 foot down at the midpoint. And now I can use the push-pull, and I want to pull that out 4 feet. Okay, so there we have our porch. So now the next thing I want to do is create the columns, and simple 4x4 rectangles. I believe 8x8. I think they're 8x8 columns. So R for rectangle. I'm going to put one on the top here. So again, 8, 8. And I want to copy that. So space bar. We're going to have 2 columns. You got one for the bottom of the deck that goes to the ground, and then one that goes from the deck to the top of the roof. So I'm going to group that, Control G. Now I want to move that and copy it. So hit the Control key and lock it in the blue axis. And we want to drop it straight down there. And now we can use the push-pull and pull that up to the bottom of the deck. And pull that up to the top, which is 9 feet. And we're going to group those columns together, I think. And let's see what we got for a tape measure tool here. We can maybe, and 9 feet 11, close enough to 10 feet. What do you think? So we're going to move that. Start with Control, and we start to move that. We want to be in the red axis, so I can hit the red arrow. And let's go 10 feet. Looks like it needs to be longer, maybe 12 feet. Too much. 11 feet 6 inches. Perfect. And let's see, let's go 1, 2, 3, 4x. It's pretty close. Now we actually got one extra one, so let's go 3x. Now we do need that 4x. Just have to do a little movement here. So, well, that's about all the time we got. I just wanted to catch you up on materials and how we can manipulate those materials to get them the consistency and the color and the textures that we want. So be sure to save, and if you have any questions, be sure to stop by and see me. I know some of you need to get in here and get caught up. You're starting to fall a little bit behind, and we want you to succeed at this, so it just takes time and some effort on your part to get in here during a study hall, during advisory, or before or after school. So we'll stop it there, and we'll start again tomorrow. So be sure to save.